Hello, welcome to beautiful Bournemouth. The sun is out. What a setting this is turning out to be for a credible fight week, and it all builds up to what is set to be a fantastic fight night at the Vitality Stadium. It is Lawrence Okolie versus Chris Billam-Smith. Johnny Nelson is here, Andy Clark is here, and the sun is out again, as is... Can you see these shoes?
What?
I thought we ditched them last year in Bournemouth, but they've returned again. The Crocs are out.
I've got their brothers coming soon. You wait till you see these. They're louder than these two, so I knew you'd like them.
It is turning out to be quite the fight week, isn't it? I mean, yesterday we saw the open workouts. You in particular, Andy, mentioned yesterday about Lawrence Okolie that we normally see Lawrence, he's very laid back, isn't he? Doesn't show a lot of emotion, and you said yesterday you would like to see a little bit more from him, a little bit of spite. Haven't seen it just yet. Do you think that might come as the fight week goes on?
It's possible, but having said that, he did give us something right at the very end which I thought was really interesting. He was talking to Big Mo in the ring at the end of his workout after we'd spoken to him. Asked him, how do you see the fight going, that kind of thing, and he said, well, having seen him today, I now think I'm going to stop him. And I thought that was...
Yeah. Stop him in the mid-rounds, wasn't it?
I thought that was quite telling, because that's going to rile you up possibly if you're Billam-Smith.
It's a bit of a subtle diss, that's what it is.
Completely.
And so it's basically saying, is that what you've got? Is that what I'm seeing? No, it's done so... He's very good at slipping those little sly ones in. And this means a lot more to him than the impression he's giving us. But I actually do think it's going to really fire off. I really do. I think I keep saying I think this will be one of the best fights we've seen with Lawrence Okolie involved, because it's so familiar, so personal.
So familiar because the two fighters, they're former stablemates, former friends, are friends, and they sparred well over 300 rounds, between 300 and 500 rounds, which is a lot of rounds to spar each other. And one of the questions that keeps popping up is the potential of perhaps they could be over familiar with themselves. Can you see that being an issue or not at all?
Not really, because I think Chris will know absolutely what he can't do in this fight, and what he can't do is get caught in that range where Okolie can just completely nullify you and just exhaust you by getting hold of you, clinching you, grabbing you, throwing you around, and just sapping your battery by doing that. He's done it to loads and loads of people. Shane said it to us, didn't he, yesterday, that in the first 4 rounds, Okolie will make sure that the opponent, when they're freshest, is barely free to do any fighting, and then he'll just impose that on you bit by bit by bit. The question is, can they prevent him from doing that? And also, will Lawrence want to do that? I don't think Sugar Hill will want him to do that, but the challenge for Sugar Hill really is can he get him on fight night to do what he wants him to do or not?
The other bit of information we found out was this: they stopped sparring a year before he left.
Yeah.
And there was a reason behind it. I used to have a sparring partner every time I defended my world title fight. Flew in from Germany. He was a top class fighter. He always got the top side of me every time we sparred. But if you prepare hard, you box better. And then eventually this sparring partner got himself into a position to be a contender for my world title. So now he knows, he's thinking, I've always had his number, because in sparring, I get the better of him all the time. But then fighting and sparring are very different. We boxed each other and end up stopping him in 7 rounds. It's a completely different game, completely different feed. But it tells me that Shane and probably Chris, a year before,
he said
they
that
thought
yesterday.
you two are going to cross paths.
He said this is a fight that Chris has wanted for a good while now. It isn't just after the David Light fight that they thought, oh, we'll have it now. This has been brewing for a long time.
Yeah, and you definitely get the feeling that of the two fighters, as we said yesterday, that the one who will have been taking more extensive notes and thinking harder about how you can beat the other one will be Chris, because he was the kind of junior partner. Lawrence was ahead of him in his career, and now Lawrence is world champion and Chris is the challenger. So I'm not saying that Okolie's going to take anything lightly, because he absolutely won't, but at the same time, I do feel like he'll have that winner's champion's mindset of, okay, you will come with a plan, but whatever it is, I will adapt and I will find a way to beat you.
That's the responsibility of being a champion. Yeah, if you're a champion, you've got to adapt to someone that's been checking you out for years before you even know who they are. So the problem is, if you're a real champion, you can hold that together. The challenger, when you've got something to hunt for, to aim for, to prepare for, which Chris has probably been doing for quite a while. He's been planning this, had a blueprint for this for years. Now, this will show us how much of a champion, a true champion, Lawrence Okolie is, to be able to deal with that, to be able to deal with someone that's been planning for him for quite a while.
For Lawrence, there's a lot at stake. It's not just his world title, his WBO world title. There's pride at stake. They're former gym mates. They've got history together. They add a bit of Shane McGuigan as the trainer. But when you talk to Lawrence, he just says he's just looking at this like just another fight. Are you buying that, Andy? Are you believing that?
Not really, no. I think he's very, very good at maintaining this very zen persona. And that, I do think that is a genuine strength. But I think he knows, like you say, there's a lot at stake here. I'm guessing there's a rematch clause, so if Lawrence loses, he'll get the rematch because he's a champion and he's given Chris a voluntary. So were he to lose, then he would get the opportunity to put it right. But Okolie's one of these guys who the currency of a belt for him is absolutely massive, more than it is for most people, because except for a rematch clause, if you're a champion, there's just no way in the world you were giving Lawrence a voluntary. Never, ever, ever.
No.
He would, if he finds himself without a belt, then he's going to have to
he
work
might
his
as well
way
be out
into
there
mandatory.
in Atlantic.
Yeah, he's
he
got
might
to
as
work
well
his
be
way
out
into
there
mandatory.
on an island by himself, and that's the case. Yesterday, when Lawrence was within the ring with Sugar, and you listen to the instructions that Sugar, little detailed things. I was watching, I'm thinking, this means a lot more to you. You've worked a lot harder than this than not with the impression you're giving us.
We didn't perhaps see the best Lawrence Okolie when he fought David Light in March. And Johnny, in the post-fight chat that we had after that fight, you were the one that's sort of saying that was his first fight with Sugar Hill, and it's going to take time for him to bed in, maybe 3, 4, 5 fights. Do you think we're going to see enough of an improvement from Lawrence in this fight? No.
I think this is the point where he can go back to type and know what he can do, what he's capable of doing with Chris. I don't think we're going to see the full fruition, the full distance created. You broke it down perfectly yesterday, Andy, when you said that Kronk style, that big man fight, where that we won't see that until 3 or 4 fights, maybe 5 down the line from Lawrence. Until that time comes, there's going to be a few speed bumps. But I think this fight is different to all of the others because of that familiarity he has with Chris.
Who do you think the pressure's on more? Because speaking to Chris yesterday, it is what dreams are made of for him, really, Saturday night, isn't it? Fighting for a world title at home in front of a record 15,000 crowd at the Vitality. But when we spoke to him, you sense there is a lot of pressure on his shoulders to perform in his hometown. Are you getting that as well?
Yeah, I do. I went to the community event at the Vitality last night where, Maverick Stars Trust brought over a load of kids, and Spencer Oliver and Anthony Corolla were putting them through their paces. It was really good fun to watch. But they did a Q&A with Chris at the start and Lee Cutler. And one of the kids asked him about boxing in front of his fans in his hometown. And he actually got quite emotional. He didn't with us yesterday, but I felt like he got quite emotional. So it does mean a lot because, as discussed yesterday, it's a double-edged sword. I think it will inspire him, but at the same time, this opportunity, it may come again because he's a popular fighter, but it also may not. And it could potentially be the best night of his life, but it could be the worst.
What about options?
Could it be overwhelming?
Yeah, so you've got to look at options. Options for the loser. If Chris Billam-Smith loses, you may see him down the line getting the option of fighting for another version of the title. If Lawrence Okolie loses and this rematch doesn't happen, Lawrence Okolie's option is to move up to heavyweight because nobody will want to fight him at cruiserweight. So you've got to weigh up who's it most important. I think it's more important to Lawrence Okolie. One, for when he decides to jump up to heavyweight, it elevates him as a good position in the rankings to get in touch and distance of fighting for a top 10, getting in the top 10. For Chris, I think if he loses, it's not the end of the road for him. There's other opportunities for him. I think it's a bitter pill to swallow. Yes, he's at home. Yes, it'll hurt his pride.
That's the thing I was thinking of, walking around your hometown when you lose, and it's built up to be such a big event here, how that would feel.
You've got to get over it. And this is why you put yourself under such pressure, so you perform to the best of your ability. That's the gamble in any sport you're in. If you're representing a country, he's representing Bournemouth. And right now, that's all the buzz. That's all everybody's talking about. You've got football royalty turning up to watch this young man fight. He's thinking, I can handle that. I want to be part of this mix. So this side of the fence, he's thinking positively. He's thinking, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in that club.
But it's not just the pressure on Chris's shoulders. There's a lot of pressure again on Shane's, isn't it? Because he's kind of had a foot in both camps, really, hasn't he? Trained Lawrence Okolie, he knows a lot about Lawrence and Chris, and he's also said himself that should Chris win, that would be sort of a career best moment for him as well. So he's feeling the pressure as well.
Yeah, I found that really interesting, actually, that statement, because you look at what he did with Carl Frampton, Josh Taylor particularly, because he had Josh from the start, but I think they feel like with Chris, because when he turned over, maybe he wasn't the kind of fighter that people would have expected them to sign. Not much was expected of him. I used a comparison with Josh Warrington yesterday. Josh, when he turned over, not loads expected of him. Chris, solid amateur background, but nothing like Josh Taylor, for example. And he admits that he gets really close to his fighters, and that's
when Chris joined the gym, he pretty much lived with Shane for a little bit, didn't he?
That's the way he likes to do it. You know what that's about, because that's how. I don't know. Did Brendan? It was a family where you were in that Ingle gym, but was there a bit of distance, or is Brendan too close?
Yeah. So Brendan always said it. If you produce a champion from scratch, people can say it's luck. You do it twice, maybe think not bad. Once you do it 3, 4, 5 times, then people give you the respect you deserve. If you get a champion or a fighter that's kind of already made, you just got to polish him up. It's harder to take the credit for that. I think with Chris Billam-Smith, I think Shane feels he can take full credit for this young man's successes.
But can you care too much, do you think? Can Shane care too much about this and the emotion? I guess it's not just the fighter in the ring. You got to sort of keep your emotions in check, but for Shane as well, because he's got such an investment in this one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm curious to see what you think about that, because Brendan was like a father figure, and it's 5 years to the day, isn't it, since he passed? So not an easy day for you, but can you be too close? Is there a danger?
I think if you understand the scars of the game, you're going to get wet, I think, and Shane, like Brendan, had put you in a position to think, this is your chance. If you don't win, you'll learn. If you draw, you'll learn. You're going to get something out of this. This isn't the end of the road for you. So I think with Shane, his pride will be hurt. But I think that's all. He's got many other fighters to work with. He'll say to him, look, get your head on, forget the outside opinions. You've got to get on with the job. So I'm quite sure he's prepared for both. For both turnouts, but I think for the gym, for the morale in the gym, for Shane to pull it off, the fighters that'll gravitate towards him think, wow, look what he's done with this young man here. He turned a loser into a winner. Look what he's done, how he's managed to turn that around. He'll get the credit he wants with that. But that's a pride thing, that's aesthetics.
We're going to talk plenty more about the main event as we go on, but it is the undercard press conference that's going to take place first. So before we hand over to that, who are you most looking forward to seeing on the undercard, Andy?
Well, there's 2 fights. Lee Cutler against Super Stanley Stannard for the Chaos Cutler against Super Stanley Stannard, eliminated for the English Super Welterweight title. That's a really good fight, but I don't think you can really look beyond
Eggington-Pickford.
Pickford. I've been talking to John Pegg a lot the last night, this morning, and it's just a great fight.
That's not going to be anything but an exciting fight, is it? Sam Eggington, he is always in exciting fights. 2 times he's been Fight of the Year.
I think it's one of those fights that if it's a fight before the main bout, you've got a lot to live up to, because that will really get the crowd on their feet. You'll give them exactly what they want. And it's something that Isaac's fight I look forward to massively, because you're curious. I actually saw Sam Eggington in the gym last night. So these guys are still having to hover around the weight to make sure they get themselves in peak condition. So it was interesting to see them work out.
All right, okay, let's get the undercard press conference underway and hand you over to Big Mo.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bournemouth Pier. Today's site for the official press conference presented by Boxer, live on Sky Sports as we head towards this Saturday, May 27th, in Vitality Stadium for the highly anticipated World Championship bout between Lawrence Okolie and Bournemouth's own Chris Billam-Smith. There are few tickets remaining to come to the show. It's almost nearly sold out. 15,000 people will be in attendance for the first ever world title fight here in Bournemouth. We would like to thank our official partners today, Bet365, Everlast, Wow Hydrate, Village Hotels, CT1, and Who Dares Gyms. We begin with the undercard press conference. First, hosting today, joining us from Sky Sports, Mr. Andy Scott. Introducing first from Maida Vale, London, England, please welcome the undefeated Razor Ali. Also undefeated from right up in Southampton, please welcome Lewis the Saint Edmondson. From Portsmouth, England, the former WBO European and Global welterweight champion Michael McKinson. On the opposite side of the stage, the undefeated heavyweight from Brighton, England, he is Tommy Welch. Still on the card from Brixton, London, England, he is the reigning IBF International Cruiserweight Champion, Isaac I.C. Chamberlain. And finally, a battle in the super featherweight division. First from Yeovil, England, introducing Dean El Diablo Dodge. And his opponent from right here in Bournemouth, please welcome the undefeated Mace Rueg. Andy Scott, the floor is yours.
Big Mo, thank you very much. Delighted to see so many members of the media here, but also big thank you to everyone here in Bournemouth. We've been made to feel so welcome. Big Mo set it up perfectly there. First world title fight at the Vitality Stadium. Everybody's coming out for it, and I'm sure supporters of the football team as well. The fact that you've cemented your place in the Premier League, it makes it a pretty special weekend. Big night for the undercard fighters as well. So we just want to get a flavour of how everyone's feeling. I'll start with Reza Ali, who's here. Reza, great to welcome you on this card. Just tell us how you're feeling to be part of such a big spectacle.
First, I want to appreciate the opportunity to be on such a big fight. And secondly, it's about coming for all the smoke, you know. I'm here very strong. I'm here to show everybody what I'm capable of. I had a great training camp. Just to be here is a blessing. Where I come from, and today to be here, again, I'm just living the dream, you know, and I'm enjoying every second.
We got to see a glimpse of what you're capable of on the Adam Azim undercard, where you forced a very good stoppage and boxed really well. Is that just a taste of what's to come?
Definitely. This time even more vicious. When I'm in that ring, there is no respect, you know. All I need to be, I just need to be me, you know, razor sharp and bash someone's head up, you know. That's it.
I'm sure, just along from you, Lewis Edmondson, that's exactly the same sort of message that you're looking to deliver on Saturday night. First fight of 2023, and what a stage to get a chance to perform on.
Yeah, it's a great venue on the South Coast. I believe it's the biggest show that we've had on the South Coast, and I'm happy to be part of it. Saturday can't come quick enough.
We've had a glimpse on Sky Sports of what you're capable of, but you have had boxers' probably number one enemy, which is inactivity. How excited are you to get a bit of momentum back? I mean, you had the pandemic in the middle of that, so it's been frustrating, but time to get some momentum behind you now.
Yeah, that's it. I just want to be busy, as every fighter does. Obviously, it's not easy, as everybody knows, but yeah, I just want to be kept busy and get some big fights, hopefully this year.
I don't want to start sort of county divides and postcode wars, but if we group it as a South Coast event, bringing big-time boxing to the South Coast, presumably moving forward, you're going to want to be a figurehead of that as well.
Yeah, definitely. It goes without saying. And Saturday, just another step along the road, and hopefully we'll have some more big nights and some big fights on the South Coast. Good
luck to you, Lewis. Isaac Chamberlain, arguably one of the most frustrated men in the area at the moment. You still get your chance. You still box on the card, but I know it's not been the smoothest build-ups to this. You know, let's say good luck to the person that you're going to take that frustration out on. But yeah, try and sum up how you're feeling at the moment.
Where is this guy? Where is he, man? Look, I got a wanted T-shirt. I'm looking for him. I'm looking for Michael Lawal. He's been MIA since this fake injury, you know, this fake toothache that you can get done in one day. Well, you know, I don't know. If I was me, I would have taken some antibiotics and been back in the gym. But some people ain't built like that.
You got the chance to stay on the card. Presumably you jumped at the opportunity, having done the hard work. Is it now just a case of getting the job done on Saturday? And what do you want to do next? Not looking too far ahead, but is it waiting for that shot at the British title, or are you going to take a different route now?
No, I'm on him now. Because the way he was acting, he was talking a lot of smoke. He was talking a lot of, you're not a bad man. I was thinking, listen, I've never once said I'm a bad man. Then he goes, what, you think you're bad with your tattoos? I said, you got more tattoos than me. What are you talking about, bro? So, yo, listen, honestly, all I'm focusing on is listening to my coach and practicing what we've been practicing in the gym. Just enjoying the Bournemouth fans, the Bournemouth support. It's my first stadium fight, just relishing the moment. Hopefully, Mikel Lawal is there. I'll be looking for him. Hopefully, he pulls up on me the way I pulled up on him when he last fought. But I don't know if he has the arse for that. So, we'll see.
If you don't mind me not dwelling on a negative, but you had that big fight here in Bournemouth, and although you came up short, you certainly weren't a loser in that fight. You got a great reception from the Bournemouth fans yesterday. I think they recognise the efforts that you put into that fight.
Yeah, and I always appreciate the Bournemouth fans. It's something a bit special to me now because me and Chris emptied blood and guts in that fight, and it's something very, very special. You know, you lose a little bit of yourself when you take part in fights like that, and part of me is staying in Bournemouth, so I really appreciate it.
And presumably, whichever way the main event goes, you'll be looking to run it back one way or the other.
100%. I've got my eyes on that, but right now I've got my eyes on Mikel Lawal. Where are you, man? Where are you?
Let's make our way up to the top table. Michael McKinson, what you said a great line to me yesterday, if you don't mind me repeating it. You were over in Dallas, Texas, last time we were here in the summer. And although it was the biggest fight of your career and everyone was rooting for you, you said, I was watching all the Facebook feeds of all the events and I did have a tinge of jealousy watching it all unfold just down the road from Portsmouth.
Yeah, I was out in Texas last August when Boxer came to Bournemouth. And to have big-time boxing on the South Coast is unbelievable. Obviously, I'm only less than an hour down the road, and I've had to travel for big fights over the last couple of years. So to be on a card like this, a setup like this, is unbelievable. I'm very, very grateful.
Presumably winning is the most important thing for you, and however it comes on Saturday night, that's what you'll be focused on. But where are you in your career at the moment? Because you seem to be caught between beating guys at domestic level but going up to fringe world level, and I think a lot of people think that Virgil Ortiz is going to be an elite fighter in the future. He's very, very good at the moment. Where do you see yourself in this whole sort of landscape?
I'm UK's number one welterweight at the moment. I see myself top of the crop domestically. I'm far too ambitious and far too confident in my ability not to think of the world names and the world level fights. So I'll stay in my lane. This is for me. This is the road back to the big fights, and what an event to showcase my skill on. So this is a great opportunity. I'm not going to overlook this Morales on the weekend. He's obviously a dangerous fighter, but very confident in the big fights again after.
Yeah, just one word on Levin Morales from Nicaragua. He's won 5 of his last 6, so he does come with some ambition and could be. How many times have we seen people trip up when they're talking about the next one?
Yeah, exactly. People that know me know I don't like being in easy fights. I've got a very colourful record, a colourful CV. If you look at it, so this is just another night's work for me. He's going to come. He's going to try, but he's going to foul.
Good luck on Saturday. Mace Rueg, good to see you up here at the top table. What a night for you, presumably. There's a lot of focus on CBS, Lee Cutler, but for you to box here on such a big card, it must be something that I don't want to say pinch yourself, but it must be a dream of yours that's coming true.
Yeah, honestly, it's a massive honour just to be here and just to display my skills Saturday night. It's gonna feel amazing. Trust me.
What does it mean to the family? Because I think everybody knows your fighting family background, your mum, your dad, and now yourself coming through.
Listen, I've worked my arse off for a long, long time for this. I've had over 250 fights in all sorts of combat sport, and I've been doing this a long time. So it's nice now everything's starting to pay off. You know what I mean?
If you don't mind me saying, for people that might not have seen you box before, how would you sum up what we should be expecting? There's a lot of flair in there. I don't think I'm underselling it.
Yeah, I'm flamboyant and I'm different, but I can also, people haven't seen what I've got in the toolbox, so I can't wait Saturday night to display what else I've got.
What do you know about your opponent, Dean Dodge, who's up here and is going to get a chance to speak as well? What are you expecting from him? What do you need to do to beat him?
Like I said, I'm different, so whatever he's tried to prepare for me is going to be completely different to what he thinks. So we'll see Saturday night. Let the best man win.
Would you give us a prediction?
No prediction. I've got no prediction. However the fight goes, it will just be clean and tidy. That's how it's going to go.
Dean, great to see you and welcome you down to Bournemouth. What's your reaction to that? Mace is a very confident character and boxes with a lot of flair, and he's got some real ability there. But you've been in with very good fighters, and I'm sure that you and your coach will be saying, we've seen it all before.
Yeah, he is. He has got the flair. He's flamboyant. He's different. You know what I mean? I sparred him years ago, and he hasn't really changed. You know what I mean? He's still going to be the same lad. He's a very, very angry little man, and that's what he is. You know what I mean? So what else can I say to it? You know what I mean? Just good luck to him, and may the best man win.
If you say he hasn't changed from years ago, what was he like back then?
He's still a little angry little man. I tell you, he's still an angry little man.
Where do you get your confidence from for this fight coming in?
I know I've done the distance, you know what I mean? I've done 10 rounders before, and this is his first step up in opponent. We wanted the 8 rounds, but they got back to us and said they could only do 4.
Listen, I don't care about it. Listen, it could be the 8 rounds if you want 8 rounds. I don't care. I have it 10 rounds. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered. So don't think, he wanted this, he wanted that. I'll have whatever you want to have. I'll have it in the car park if you want it. I don't care, mate. Listen, keep saying angry little man. Where are you getting this angry little man from? I'm just confident in my ability, in my boxing ability, and that's it. I've got a passion for this. It's not being angry, is it? You know, you've got to pour petrol on this to get what you want, and I've got exactly where I want you Saturday night. Would you finish off by giving us a prediction, Dean?
Just a win. That's all I predict is a win. You know what I mean? On this home soil, I predict they're going to win.
Let's talk to the angry big man at the end of the table. Tommy Welch, good to see you. Thank you for joining us on the award-nominated Toe to Toe podcast this weekend. You can download it from all good I've messed that up, haven't I? Oh. Could do it from wherever you download your podcast. Make sure you download it. Award-nominated, not award-winning. Good to see you. You've been talking this up, the launch pad, the platform that you want to be on. What do you want to show us on Saturday night?
I mean, let's just take it back a little bit. This place is an absolute buzz. I feel like I'm at home again. The weather's here. The beaches are looking beautiful. I'm just enjoying every moment of this. I've worked very hard to get here, and I have to thank everyone involved for getting me here. And I'm taking this opportunity with 2 hands, and I will deliver what we've been talking about. Yeah.
Do you see this as a launch pad for yourself? There's some real good names in that domestic heavyweight mix at the moment. Do you see yourself as the outsider looking in, and are you ready to gate crash that scene?
This is a massive, massive launch pad for me, and I've just got to get it right, to be honest. And like I said, I've been working hard, and I want to get in the mix of all these boys that are coming through.
I think everybody knows your dad and what he brought to the pro game and also the Hollywood film scene. But what's it like being Scott Welch's son? It's not easy, but do you want to be known as Tommy Welch the boxer, not Scott Welch's son?
Absolutely. I think everyone has to create their own paths in life. My dad set a fantastic path out in his career, and hopefully I can mimic that and, hopefully one day perhaps do what he done and a little bit more, But growing up, we've got a bit of history with Bournemouth as well. He had a big part to play with helping the football team come up the ranks as well. When Liam Bradbury scored that famous goal and done the boxing knockout after, and so we've got good history down here. So Bournemouth's like a second home for me, and I want to put on a big show for everyone that's down here.
And presumably, just to finish, you touched on it there. Obviously, it's not too far from Brighton. There's a number of local talented fighters on the card, and you'll be looking to cement this as a bit of a hotbed for boxing down on the south coast.
Absolutely. I've got the honour of fighting on the same card of boys that I've come up with, like Louis Edmondson, great character, great fighter. Isaac Chamberlain, we sparred many years ago, and we've always been very close. Lee Cutler, Chris Billam-Smith, and Lawrence Okolie. It's a real honour to be on there, as well as everyone else that's on the show. But it's a personal thing, and I feel like it's a nice little team outing. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Well, very happy to have you. That concludes the undercard press conference. We're not actually going to do head-to-heads at the moment. Everyone wait around. After the main event press conference, we'll clear the tables and we'll get all of the face-offs together. So that is it for now. We're going to have a 5-minute intermission, and don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the main event press conference shortly. Thank you very much.
I think Rugged Dogs, they spice things up with that little press conference.
I actually like that angry little man. Pretty cool. And then of course, Tommy Welch in the mix as well. I think I was with his dad yesterday. Scott, we're talking about old times, going down memory lane. So it was nice to see his son sat up there like a movie star with that movie star look. And I'm thinking, I hope he can follow the footsteps of his pops as well.
He's right in what he's saying, though. It is one of those weeks that you literally want to soak it up, and I'm not just talking about the sunshine, because it has got that sort of special feel this fight week, Andy.
Yeah, it really has, and it's got plenty of people on the undercard who they know that, as you could see from hearing them speak there, and they really want all of them make a statement.
Sorry, Johnny's just doing himself.
Wardrobe.
Just on the way in, Nelson.
It's hot, but it's not that hot.
Wardrobe man.
Any excuse to strip off at weigh-in back in the day to make the weight you need take it. This is absolutely outrageous.
We need people watching, not turning off, so keep your clothes on.
but with the lads on the undercard, Louis Edmondson, good to watch. We've covered him before. Really good to watch. He'll want to continue doing that. Chamberlain, he is a bit angry. He wants to take it out on somebody.
But you can understand that coming from Chamberlain.
Yeah, of course. He's frustrated, and you can understand why he's as frustrated as he is. Welch is really interesting. They had him in on the podcast. He was in this immaculate suit, really looked the part, and it's a great story with him and his dad. And I've covered one of his fights a while ago, and he gets it. The ring walk was good. The swagger was there, the strut was there, and he won by stoppage. There's something there. He can definitely fight. So, and Razor Ali, he said, I've known Razor for a while. He used to train down at Darren Barker's gym, and his backstory is incredible, and you get the impression with him, when you've come through something like that, getting in a ring with a referee and some rules, it's not really a thing, and you can see that from the way he fights.
Just going back to Tommy Welch, one of the things that I think they spoke about in the podcast was he'd like to win the British title, because I don't believe there is a father-son combination that's won the British title yet, so that would be quite an achievement.
I'm quite
itself.
sure if anybody remembers it, I can see that brain ticking, thinking there's got to be one. There's got to be one somewhere, but
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
But a special achievement would be.
It'd be great. Yeah. No, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. Family kind of achievements in boxing are great, aren't they? They're just they're just heartwarming, and that would be, I think the pair of them would absolutely love that.
When we come on these trips, I like meeting old heads, talking boxing with old heads, guys that that have come through the system. They'll tell you all boxing stories. And that's what I got with Scott Welch.
Yeah, it's that in front of us.
It was nice talking about Herbie High, talking about the days when he boxed at Matchroom and the days when he was boxing along. But it was just nice, a bit of banter. But then you see his son, and I always think, if you can pass these nuggets of wisdom conversation, you've got to engrave it in your son, so your son thinks boxing, sleeps boxing, eats boxing. And I just think I'm interested to see how that journey goes.
And for Tommy, he wants to do things in his own right as well. He doesn't just want to be known as the son of a boxer. Do you know what I mean? He wants to achieve things off his own back, and that's understandable as well.
Yeah, and I do think it's difficult for sons off, because you've got to prove that you get the comparisons, and you have to prove that you've got the minerals, because generally speaking, the dad will have had it tougher on the way up than the son, and the son's life as a child is completely different from the dad's, because the dad has done so well and has been able to give them that life, and then they have to prove that this is for them. And it's not easy. Macklin always likes to say, what's in the cat is in the kitten, and a lot of the time it is. But you don't get a free ride. People almost want to see you get it stuck on you to see what you'll do.
Ricky Hatton, Rick Hatton's son Conor Benn,
Eubank,
Chris Eubank. That's unfortunately for and you've got to forge your way through for people to. You've got to demand respect. You've got to work hard for it.
Sorry, I was just called about my producer just there was making a hand signal. Just caught me off guard there. For Isaac Chamberlain, though, an opportunity for him that he didn't think was going to happen when it all happened with Michael Lowell, with the dentist work that was going on. That's what we know. That's what we're going on. But an opportunity for him to get back out there, and that is what is important for him. He just needs to get out there and keep busy.
Yeah, I can understand the frustration, because you hear the reason why, and we don't know the reason why. I mean, dental work can be very complicated. It can affect all sorts of different areas. If it's your wisdom
we
teeth,
can only go on what we know on this situation.
And we can only go on what we know. But in his head, you've got a toothache and you bottled it. That's his version.
The only
of
way
events.
Lowell defends that is actually getting to the fight, making sure he's there at the fight, the ringside. For any cruiserweight that's up there in the top tier, top 10, top 5 in the UK, you'd be here this weekend. You would be here. So I don't know how ill is ill, but I'd expect Lowell to be here, not even for Isaac to watch this. watch where you want to be and to watch how the atmosphere could raise. So don't be surprised if he does rock up at the weekend. I know Isaac went and bought himself a T-shirt, got
Talk
it printed
of the devil.
out.
Your ears your ears burning.
So and I understood the method behind the madness, but it was pretty cool to see.
Sensing a fair bit of frustration. Is that fair to say, Isaac?
Yeah. Where is he? I'm looking for him. Where is he?
Do you think he'll come?
I hope he does. If he doesn't come, that just says a lot about his character. Maybe his tooth is still hurting. So, where are you, man?
Do you really and truly think he's avoiding this? He's British champion, so it's got to happen. So, do you really and truly think he's avoiding it?
Well, the thing is, if he pulls out again, he gets stripped. So then we'll really know if he's really about this life.
What's your gut telling you?
My gut is telling me, don't pull out. Do you know what? My gut is telling me what I want to hear. Like, I want to hear he's going to be at the fight. I want to hear he's not going to pull out next time. I want to hear he's going to give me a great fight. Like, win or lose, at least go into battle preparing. This is what we're built for. This is what we train to do. But if your heart's really not in it, what are you doing this for? Because I know why I'm doing this for legacy, to be the best that I can be. Are you doing it to build your ego to everyone around you, saying, oh yeah, I'm the man, like, but you're not really taking real fights, you just want highlight real knockouts.
If you were him, would you come? If you were in his position?
100%, because look what I'm doing. So everyone's going to laugh at you right now, saying Isaac is onto you every day. I've been onto you, I've been messaging him on Instagram, calling him a coward. Where are you? You pulled out the fight, what's going on? So it's making me think, if I was him, I'll come up and approach me face to face to be like, yo, what are all these things that you're saying?
But are you going to use the frustration that's clearly within you, and understandably so, to show us what you've got on Saturday night, to make a statement and send that to him?
I don't ever really fight with emotion. Obviously, it looks like that with my fights, but life, I think, is what happens and how you respond to the things that happen. You know, because if I was fighting with emotion, I would have been, I would have been upset. I would have been upset. I would have been upset with what happened, and I would have been like, do you know what? Let me just eat this chocolate or eat this burger that I've been missing out on. But no, I have to keep a solid mind frame the whole way through, as if, you know, I'm still fighting Macau Lawal. That's why I'm weighing in on championship weight on Friday. I'm still acting like a constant professional, which I'm supposed to do.
And you're still fighting. You're still getting an opportunity to get out there in front of 15,000 people on Saturday night, which is going to be an experience in itself. How much are you looking forward to doing that?
Oh, it's going to be amazing, man. Just relishing the Bournemouth atmosphere. Obviously, the last time I was fighting here, it was crazy. There's a smell about the Bournemouth atmosphere. I don't know what it is.
It's the sea air. It's the sea air, right?
Seaside, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Can I ask the question? So you've been with both Chris and Lawrence. Strengths on both fighters, weakness on both fighters. You've been in there with them. What are they? And that'll just help us make that comparison.
It's quite difficult to say because I fought both of them at different stages of my career. But I definitely, Lawrence's strength obviously is very, very awkward. It's hard to prepare even sparring for a guy like Lawrence because you know what he's going to do. He's going to, as soon as he senses a bit of a bit of a threat, he will obviously look to hold. He'll look to negate you, he'll look to try and weaken you by holding, then he'll go back out, use the jab, stay long. What Chris has to do is obviously go inside and work. But the upper hand that Chris has is he has Shane McGuigan, who used to train Lawrence for so long. So I definitely believe that it's difficult because who knows what happened in them spars, them hundreds of rounds that they sparred with each other. Who knows what happens, what game plan Shane is trying to tell Chris.
So what would you tell, if you were working with Chris, what would you tell him how to be Lawrence?
Honestly, it's difficult. Only because they know Lawrence better than everyone. They probably know him better than the way I know him because I fought him, but he sparred him 100 times. Especially as being Lawrence's old coach, he's probably studied him, studied his weaknesses, studied his strengths, studied how he moves, his psychology, his personality. He studied all of these things as a coach.
How do you think psychologically it will affect Okolie with Shane being in Chris's corner?
I think Lawrence is the type of guy, I don't think it will matter. He's the type of guy, he's just like,
he likes to just live in the moment. He's not really, I don't think Lawrence is really an overthinker like that, which is why it got him to this position. Like, he doesn't care about all the holding and all the criticism that he's got. So I think he'll kind of do the same thing and negate Chris.
Could that be advantage to Chris, though, having Shane in the corner, that Shane knows both Okolie and Chris? Yeah, big advantage. And the good thing about Chris, it looks like he's a very good listener. You know, he's very good at adapting to tactics that his coaches tell him. Well, the one thing that we spoke about this yesterday, that Shane said that Chris is his work ethic in the gym. He's the kind of fighter, the trainer, the athlete, that every day he wants to improve by that 1%, and that could be the difference on Saturday night. 100%. So, well, we might see a crazy Rocky story. We might see it's either going to go early or it's going to be a clinch, hugging, kind of a dirty, messy fight. But, what's your gut saying? My gut is saying it might go the distance or a late stoppage, but it will be quite messy. Sorry, Andy, you wanted to ask? No, I've just got one quick one for you. Just picking up on something you said there. As a fighter, do you think it's better to be a deep thinker or a non-thinker? No, non-thinker. Because if you're thinking too deep, you're thinking too much of what the opponent might do, to the point where you get caught up a little bit. You're not. If you're a deep thinker, you're not going to allow yourself to get into your flow. Not to really flow with boxing, with making the opponent worry about you. You're going to keep worrying about what he's going to do, and then you start thinking three steps ahead. And when you start thinking 3 steps ahead, you don't initiate the first step, then it gets a bit messy. Do you know what I mean? So not easy though to achieve that kind of state where you're just letting the subconscious take over. Of course. Well, I recommend meditating. Not whilst you're in the ring. No. But just use what you've practiced. I think when you work so hard in training camp, you work on things that you're going to do in the fight. So winning, as you expect to win Saturday night, how soon are you expecting to get back in the ring with Lawal, hopefully? How soon? Well, we're still waiting on this forged doctor's note that he probably sent in. I don't know what happened there. So we're waiting and see how long it's going to take for him to get out or to get back. But we're just waiting on this doctor's note. Like, you know, we've been waiting. I've even messaged him. It's been like, the last time I messaged him was a week ago or something. I was saying, it's been 9 days now. Where's this doctor's note? Once again, if you're participating in the main card and main event press conference, I'm fully expecting over the next 24 hours to see some flyers down the beach with these T-shirts, like a wanted poster down there. That's a good idea. I might do it. I'm not joking. It's going to be my coach. I'm going to do it. I'm serious. I'm going to do it. How much are you looking forward to Saturday night? It's going to be quite the main event, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be amazing, and I'm just grateful. I'm grateful to be on such a massive stadium fight. Shout out to Sky Sports, Ben Shalom, Mick Hennessy, everyone. Out of interest, how different do you think it's going to be fighting in a stadium to, say, fighting in an arena like you have done before? Honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to have to relish everything. I'm just going to have to relish everything. It's starting again, Johnny. You want payday? Payday! All right. You lost to a 3-0 journeyman. What are you talking about? In your last fight. You got dropped twice by Okolie, bro. Oh, yeah? Yeah? Oh, yeah? Is that why you lost your last 2 fights? Huh? That was interesting. What's wrong with this guy? He keeps caught, bro. Tell him to get out of it, man. Just a little bit to whet the appetite for our main event press conference. Here we go. Let's hand you over to Big Mo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bournemouth Pier, and welcome back to our viewers joining us on Sky Sports. We now begin the main card and main event press conference presented by Boxer as we head towards this Saturday's blockbuster, first ever world title fight to occur here in the beautiful city of Bournemouth. We welcome back from Sky Sports Andy Scott, and now joining Andy on stage is the founder and CEO of Boxer, Mr. Ben Shalom. Introducing the fighters that are joining us here. Up first, our contest is an eliminator for the English Super Welterweight Championship. First from Harby, England, the undefeated Stanley Stannard. His opponent is from right here in Bournemouth. Please welcome the ever-popular Lee Chaos Cutler. Our women's fight on the card features 2 undefeated prospects. First, from Salford, please welcome Jade Blade Taylor. And her opponent from Macclesfield, she is the 2020 Olympic bronze medalist, Karis Ardingstall. Our chief support should be a great one. Saturday night is for the vacant WBA International Super Welterweight Championship. Up first, from Southampton, the undefeated Joe Pigford. And his opponent, the former IBO World Champion Sam the Savage Eggington. And finally, our main event live this Saturday from Vitality Stadium, the first world title fight to happen here in Bournemouth. First, please welcome two legendary coaches joining us on stage. On the side of the challenger, please welcome Shane McGuigan. And for the champion, Sugar Hill Stewart. And now the two men competing for the WBO Cruiserweight Championship of the world. First, the challenger. He is the former British, Commonwealth, and European Cruiserweight Champion from right here in Bournemouth, England. Please welcome the gentleman, Chris Billam-Smith. And now the champion. Taking his belt on the road, he comes to us from Hackney, London, England. He is the undefeated. He is the former British, Commonwealth, and European Cruiserweight Champion. He is the current reigning, defending WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world, and he is the Sauce, Lawrence Okolie. Andy Scott, to you, sir.
Big Mo, thanks very much. Welcome back to Bournemouth, wherever you're joining us, be it on the internet or here in person. Great to be here. I'll go straight to promoter Ben Shalom. Ben, we've had two very good events here in Bournemouth, and it was a natural fit. Chris Billam-Smith made it very clear that he wanted to come back here and fight for a world title in the stadium. How delighted are you that this event stands up and we're here and the sun is shining?
Yeah, we were here first 12 months ago against Isaac Chamberlain. I think we did 4,000 in the BIC last year. To be here 12 months later doing 15,000 sellout in Vitality Stadium is incredible. Thank you to AFC Bournemouth. Thank you to Joe Ashford for making this possible, and Chris Billam-Smith, who is creating a legacy down here on the South Coast. This is the biggest boxing event ever to happen on the South Coast. We've got everyone coming from Portsmouth, Southampton, Salisbury. It's a huge event. But also thank you to our champion, Lawrence Okolie. 7 weeks after his mandatory defence against David Light, he sticks it all on the line in Bournemouth. That's a sign of a champion, and we have a huge domestic world title fight on our hands.
Yeah, we'll come to the main event shortly, but let's talk through our very, very competitive undercard. Let's start with Lee Cutler and Stanley Stannard. Lee, I'll come to you first. I've seen some of the exchanges between you and CBS teasing each other about one day you'll be on my undercard here at Vitality Stadium. I'm sure you're as proud of him as he is of you, that together you're part of this bill and a chance eliminator for the English Super Welterweight Championship.
Yeah, massively surreal. Last night we were at the stadium and just talking through that post that got posted 7 years ago when I commented when he was on live on TV when Bournemouth got promoted. And he said it was going to happen, and now it's happened. Buzzing for it, absolutely buzzing for it. What a place to do it. The sun's come out again. What more can you ask for?
And your fight against Stanley Stannard, talk us through that. And how confident are you? What have you got to do to ensure that it's your hand raised in victory?
Yeah, I'm very confident. Obviously, Stannard's not been in there with anyone. That's not to say he isn't any good. He just hasn't been tested. He might be a superstar. He might not. But I'm willing to risk it all. I'll fight anyone at a drop of a hat. I've proved that before by moving up in weight. I don't care. I get to do it in front of my home fans. You can say that's pressure, but do you know what pressure does? It makes diamonds. And on Saturday night, that's what it does. It makes diamonds.
Stanley, welcome to Bournemouth. This fight's got all the makings of a really good one. Tell us why you think that you're the man to win on Saturday.
Yeah, obviously it's a pleasure to be down here. Obviously you can hear from Lee, he's very humble. Respectful, and that's just the same energy from myself. I'm unbeaten, and he's true. He's in what he's saying. I've not boxed anybody yet. It's been hard for me to get opponents. I feel I've had to do it the hard way on the small hall scene, which obviously is a little bit tougher than what Lee's had in his last couple of fights. He's had that platform of exposure, which has been good for him, and now this is my opportunity to get on that big stage and sort of cement myself and my my boxing skills. So that's what I intend on doing Saturday night, yeah.
And if you don't mind telling the story briefly, you did warm weather training over in Portugal for this one, but it didn't necessarily happen the way that everyone thought it would. It was because of a campmate having a holiday out there, and Carl Greaves was like, well, we might as well all go. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, so Emma Dolan was meant to be defending her Commonwealth title, and Carl wanted to go out and train her. Fight's been pushed back now, so we just basically gate crashed their holiday and ended up doing a warm weather camp out there. But it prepared me nicely for this weather down here. I've had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction today. I've come in my jeans and jumper. Didn't really. It was a bit cooler in the hotel with the aircon on, but yeah, I'm ready. I've put all the work in Portugal and then back home, and now I'm here in Bournemouth. I'm looking forward to it.
All the best. Let's go to Jade Taylor and Karis Artinsol. Jade, I'll come to you first. This is a huge opportunity for you, and presumably, in your eyes, a very winnable fight against Karis Artinsol.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say I appreciate you putting me on this show, and I'm just here to showcase my skills. And yeah, definitely we're both unbeaten, and it's going to be a really good fight.
What do you know about Karis as both an amateur and a professional so far?
To be fair, not much. Obviously, I've seen her with her last fight, Lindsay, who I beat as well. So that's the only fight I've really watched of Karis. I know she's got a really good experience in the amateurs, winning Olympic, well, obviously getting bronze in Olympics and stuff like that. But being a single parent and having to grow through sessions with 2 children clinging to your ankles as well, I feel like my grueling sessions and things like that experience and having that stress of that definitely put me up there. Whether it's experience in the ring or not, we're all boxing, we're all training day in, day out, and yeah, it's just going to be a good fight on the night.
Wish you all the best of luck. Karis, welcome to Bournemouth, your first 8-rounder. How excited are you to get in there against Jade, who boxed Lindsay Basinski, same as you, and has got the nod ahead of you in terms of experience? But what are you expecting on Saturday night from Jade Taylor?
Just expecting a good fight. She's unbeaten, like you said. That's what I'm expecting, a good fight. Ask me a better question.
Tough gig up here. Tough gig up here, don't worry. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for that. If you could pinpoint one thing that you feel that you have improved on since you turned over from amateur to professionals, what would it be?
I'd probably say my punch output, like putting combinations together instead of bouncing up and down on my toes, throwing 1s and 2s. Like, I think I am forming into a professional quite well, actually. A bit more experience under my belt, and I'll be away flying.
And what's 222 divided by 11? For the language, we are live. Apologies, let's move on. Sam Eggington and Joe Pigford. I mean, genuinely on the card, I think it's the one that's got everybody talking in terms of entertainment and pure entertainment, where whether you watch it from behind the sofa or through your fingers, or if you're lucky enough to be at ringside, this one should be a belter. Joe, come to you first. Down on the south coast, it's not too far from Southampton, and you've been calling for a big fight. Now you've got it. How excited are you, and what can we expect from you against arguably one of Britain's most exciting fighters time and time again in Sam Eggington?
Yeah, obviously I'm looking forward to it. It's a fight I've been calling for a while. Just the big sort of breakthrough fight I'm looking for, and obviously I'm very confident about it. Like you say, Sam likes to come forward and get involved in wars, and I think that plays straight into my hands. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
The punch power is evident. 20 wins, 19 of those inside the distance, and we're all talking about your punch power. But do you feel that there's more to your game, and we're focused on the punch power a little bit too much? And it probably works for Sam as well. Everybody talks about his durability, his toughness. There's probably more to his game as well.
Listen, there's more to both our games than just our main strengths, but. Obviously, I think you can do so much talking about a fight. We'll be fighting Saturday, and everyone will get to see what happens.
If I pushed you for a prediction?
Like I say, we don't need predictions. I'm very confident. We've been calling for this fight 8 weeks, 10 weeks out. We've known this fight's coming. We've been training hard for it. We've got game plans, and we just got to stick to doing what we do. And of course, I'm going to come away with a W.
Sam, welcome down to Bournemouth. I asked you yesterday at the public workout, this is presumably exactly sort of what gets you out of bed now at this stage of your career, coming down to the South Coast against a big ticket seller, against a big puncher in Joe Pigford.
Yeah, like I say, all that sort of stuff, what goes against you is the sort of stuff that gets me out of bed and gets me in the gym. So the fact that this was moved from the Birmingham bill to this bill, it makes no odds to me. It gets me up a bit early and it makes me train a bit harder, so I'm looking forward to it.
It's rare that you're involved in the Dole fight. I think everybody feels that this one's going to be exciting again. What have you prepared for, and what are you expecting from Joe Pigford? We know the punch power is there. Don't want to dwell on it too much, but the record speaks for itself.
Yeah, look, someone asked me this yesterday, and I just train for me. I don't look at them much. I don't try and train around their boxing. I train to what I want to do in the ring, and then they can go around. They can sort of box around what I'm doing. I've got my game plan. It hardly ever changes. So look, this is a good fight to be watching, and I feel like it's going to be a good fight to be involved in. I've come in and I'm confident, and I've done everything I can to make sure that I come away with a win. So yeah, come Saturday night, I'll be ready and I'll be excited.
Yeah, good luck to both of you. Let's move to our main event. Come straight to the challenger, Chris Billam-Smith. And you were right to correct me at the original press conference. You went to Ben Shalom and said, bring big-time boxing down here and I'll fill the International Centre. You did. You said, come back and I'll give you another big performance and get myself into the world title picture. You did. And then I put to you, is it a dream to box for a world title at the stadium? And you said, no, it's not a dream to box there. It's a dream to win it, and I'm going to win it. Just how excited are you for Saturday night? Now this moment is upon us.
Yeah, we're here now. It's fight week. Got to see the stadium yesterday and put a huge smile on my face and filled me with a lot of emotion, which is good. But yeah, we're here now, and like you said, and like Lee said as well, that I've been visualising this and planning for this for many years. That was when I said that thing to Lee, I was still an amateur. So here we are now as a professional, and we're right at the pinnacle.
How do you feel now you're at the top table and he's here and you've seen everything that he's had to say and you've had a chance to take that in? Is there any extra pressure building because of the fact that we are in Bournemouth, the fact that they have it put more seats in, the capacity is bigger than originally planned? Is it motivation, or is there good nerves and pressure there as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think there can't be any more pressure on me in the rest of my career than this Saturday night. It's a first world title fight. It's at home. The whole show is built around me and this event, and has been for the last two shows as well that we've done down here. But like I always say, pressure's a privilege, and I soak it up. And the more pressure, the better. But absolutely, there's pressure and a huge amount of excitement as well. Have you felt the power of the fans already? Yeah, I have. I've been living off it from when I boxed Isaac down here last year. They've been amazing. Any time I'm in Bournemouth and people see me about, and I'm feeling great energy from the whole town. They've been brilliant. The support's been huge. And at the end of the day, they're the reason that we're able to fill the stadium. They're the ones who, they go work hard. They pay their hard-earned money to come and watch me, and I'll go reward them on Saturday night. Lawrence, welcome to Bournemouth. I think it's 9 weeks bell to bell since David Light. I should just say everybody continues to send their best wishes to David Light, who's recovering in New Zealand. Do you actually feel that you should be getting a little bit of thanks? It's rare in the modern era that we go 9 weeks with elite fighters, world champions boxing back to back like that. This show is happening because the Bournemouth fans, because of Chris Billam-Smith, but because you agreed to do it within such a small time frame.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be here. And, definitely right. I think all of this talk of world title fights and stuff like that wouldn't happen unless I said I'm going to put my world title on the line. No one could put me in that position as a world champion. So it's obviously one that I wanted myself. And I'm looking forward to this weekend. Did you believe it would happen, though? The reason I ask that is against Chris Billam-Smith, a former gym mate, under your former trainer in Shane McGuigan. There are a lot of narratives to this. Perhaps it didn't look like the obvious fight. Yes, I know. I think the reason why it's obviously more likely is because, as you said, it's been a dream of his for years to box at the Vitality Stadium for a world title, and there was no other world champion that was ready and willing. So it wasn't like I was like the first call or anything like that, or he was even the first call. It's opportunity arises itself, and when you're ready, you take them. How confident are you? You gave us a great line yesterday that you said, been watching him in the build-up, but now I've seen him in the flesh, I believe that I knock him out. Yeah, I'm extremely confident. I think I'm in great condition. I'm a great athlete, great boxer. From amateur to professional, I've shown time and time again that I'm ready to take the risk and do what needs to get done. I became an Olympian very limited fights. I became a British, Commonwealth, European champion with very limited experience as a pro, won a world title, defended it a few times. So I'm very, very confident in myself and what I've done and accomplished, and I'm going to demonstrate why I have done that stuff on Saturday.
And why was it yesterday? What was it that you saw that changed your...
I think the reality is when you come to outside of mind, me and Chris were in the same gym with Shane, and I think when you've been away for a while, you can either tear someone down or build them up in your mind. So I think for me, I built him up. This guy's a monster. He's going to be throwing punch after punch for round after round. Then I saw him and I just remembered it's just a guy. They might have done the same or the opposite and said, Lawrence is weak here and this, that, and other. And one thing I've noticed in this whole build-up is that I'm very confident in myself, and a lot of stuff that I've heard coming from their camp is based on me being less than. But I can say here that I'm in amazing shape and I'm coming to do a job.
Well, that neatly brings in Shane McGuigan. What is it that you guys have seen and been talking about that you've seen in Lawrence that perhaps you don't feel that he's at 100%?
I don't think he's not at 100%. We've been planning for him to be at 100%. I think that it's a world title opportunity. It's something that you can't turn down against a British fighter. And, Chris winning on Saturday makes him, a superstar, in my opinion. Especially down here. It's a guy that's the first time to bring a world title fight down to Bournemouth. And, there's Arsene Gulamarin out there who's Armenian and stuff. And, but then you've got another guy who's used to be in my gym, British guy, and it just creates an amazing story. So someone that we also know really well. And, watching them spar countless rounds, they both had a lot of success. Just let's see who does it best with the small gloves on.
Has it been an interesting dynamic, though, the fact that you took him to the top of the tree to become world champion, and now you're plotting to bring him down, and 300-plus rounds of sparring between the two? I sometimes wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing that you know each other so well on both sides.
I think it can only be a good thing for you guys as fans, because we know that Lawrence has been in certain fights that haven't been that exciting, whereas I know that Chris knows what he can't do against Lawrence, and he can't fall into those traps. So that is going to create excitement. There's going to be a lot of live boxing out there. They both can bang, and yeah.
Sugar Hill, welcome to Bournemouth. You've been preparing, obviously, probably in similar surroundings, I would say. It's still a body of work with Lawrence Okolie. What did we see against David Light that pleased you, and what did you see that you went away and worked on that you think could be the difference in this fight particularly?
Well, the fight with Lawrence Okolie and David Light, I've stated that I gave Lawrence a 7, and Lawrence gave himself a 4, which was happy for me to hear, just because he wants more. We didn't have that much time together. A lot of things were new, and just for him to go out there and do everything that we worked on, it just wasn't consistent enough. And that's the reason why I gave him a 7 and he gave himself a 4. But he's not looking at it the way I look at it. He's looking at it like he wants to get better. And to have that fight and to immediately come back into training, accept the fight with Chris here in his hometown, and it just shows that he wants to get better. I remember after the fight in the locker room, Lawrence was like, man, I see. He understands, because there was moments in that fight where he should have and could have done things, but he didn't do it, and he understands. And for him wanting to get back in that gym right away, that means a lot, from the way I look at it as a fighter, his personality and his drive to want to be better.
How does this fight go finally against Chris Billam-Smith from your perspective?
You know what? I've asked Lawrence about his sparring with Chris, and pretty much all he didn't give me much, but I was satisfied with what he gave me. He just gave me like a kind of a nod, a confident nod, and I was okay with that. So I know they sparred a lot together. I've been in the gym where guys have sparred numerous times and had to fight each other. It's only normal in boxing. Everybody's pretty much almost sparred everybody at some point in time, coming up through amateurs and professionals, and it all just counts on the night. It's up to those two fighters to figure out what they can do to each other and what the other one can and cannot do on that night. So this is just one of those times where it's on the big stage, which we're so happily appreciative of with these two guys here. Another thing I want to state is that I was here last year when Chris fought Chamberlain, and that was one of the most exciting fights I saw. I was sitting ringside. So the crowd here is electric. I turned into a fan after that fight, just sitting front row, and the fans here in Bournemouth.
I'll get you a T-shirt, Sugar, yeah?
What's that?
I'll get you a team T-shirt, yeah?
No problem. I'll take it. Listen, I watched you fight, and it was a great fight. The fans were going crazy.
Thank you.
I was sitting here and just being around a person that can have the fans on their side and just that kind of electricity, it always just makes my blood, my skin just tingle just because of that excitement, because you really don't get a lot of that in boxing. So for you to have this fight here, you fighting for the world championship, I know this place is going to go crazy. And I'm excited to be a part of it and to just, to watch you and your journey and watch the people to support you and everything.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'll invite both main event fighters to have one final say. What would you say to Lawrence, your final message to him?
Thank you for the opportunity. You know, there's been a lot of bad things in boxing, but this is something that hasn't been spoken about in a good light enough. Is this fight? It's two old gym mates fighting for a world title, two Brits fighting for a world title on a massive stage, on a massive platform, and I think that in a nutshell is what boxing should be about. Two guys who've never shied away from any fights in their careers, who know each other very well. And Saturday night is going to be absolutely electric and definitely a night to remember.
Well said. Lawrence, your final words?
Nothing crazy, just a point. I'm coming to make an extremely big statement on the weekend. As much as I love and respect the other side, I just think a lot of this stuff has been built up around destiny and world titles and Bournemouth and stuff like that. But I'm my own man on my own journey, and there's stuff that I want and need, and I'm ready to fight for it. So we're going to find out on the weekend what's what and who's who.
Very well said. And Ben Shalom, last word to you. You've matched two of your cruiserweights together, and you should be applauded for it.
Yeah, it was a fight we never saw coming, and credit to both guys, as Chris said. I think there's a lot that goes on in British boxing, but getting two British fighters fighting in a domestic world title in a voluntary defence in Chris Billam-Smith's hometown, it's something very, very special for the sport. Huge fights on the undercard for local lads as well, and it will be a big night to remember on Saturday night.
Well said. We're going to break now for head-to-heads. Just bear with us. We're going to clear the table so everyone can get a clear shot. Those at the front, just try not to stand up so everyone at the back can get a clean shot. Thank you once again.
A fairly respectable press conference there. Before we get stuck into the main event, just a word on Karis Artinstall there. What's that down to? Is it emotion? Is it the magnitude of the week? Just wants to get the fight, wants to get in the ring? What is it, Andy?
No, I don't know her, but I think that's her. I think that's just how she is, and it makes it an interesting one from a kind of marketing point of view, if you like. But if that is what she's really like, then I guess you just have to run with it. You know, she just gave an answer she gave to Andy Scott there that she would have given to anyone in the world who she felt that had been a little bit cheeky to her. Could be the President of the United States, it could be a bloke walking down the street.
It was a fair question that Andy asked.
Yeah, it was a very difficult question that Andy asked, but that's her, I think. It's just a question of, what do you do with that? Do you just say to her, well, okay, well, just if that's you, then just be you, just do you, be your true, authentic self. People talk about that all the time now, don't they? But, you know, it is quite hard to
it's been quite hard, I think, with her and Lauren Price to really get a handle on them and kind of sell them, because they are quite private, and that's fine. But if that's what she's like, then let's just see it. Let's see more of her.
Right, okay, you want to see more of her. Did you feel like that's sort of letting yourself down a bit?
No, I think that's who she is. I agree. I think that's who she is. I think she's probably been trying to be somebody she's not from when she's introduced herself to the professional scene. So now, again, it's does she want us to see that side of her, or is she going to try and give us the impression as though butter wouldn't melt in her mouth? I don't think so. I think she's a no-nonsense, straight-talking kind of girl. And people are either going to love it or loathe it. People will be surprised at it because they've never seen that side of her. But I think that's who she is. I'm not bothered by it. I think she spoke how she fought, how she fights, and that's why I hear when she's in the gym, she's an animal. She's on it. So her being respectful and nice to us publicly, I think that's the hard bit instead of just being herself.
I think Andy got the hard bit there for her.
Yeah, he did. I think something that can happen sometimes with GB fighters who've been through that system is that they do get some media training, and they do face the media every now and again, usually kind of big days before major competitions and then during major competitions. And I'm not saying that they try and coach them to not give anything away, but it's a little bit more like a kind of football club setup. And I think they feel like we're representing Great Britain, I mustn't rock the boat and say anything controversial. And so that's how they get used to doing it when they're in front of a camera. But this is different now, because this is show business with blood. You know, this is what this is. You need to sell yourself. So I think you can kind of let go of that idea that you're Team GB and you're representing Great Britain and you need to be careful. You're just representing yourself, and just be you and see how people like it. I don't think she would care whether people like it or not. And for that reason, I think people would.
And more people will probably watch her.
Yeah, I think so.
That.
I think so, yeah.
A good tactic. In terms of her boxing skills, what have you made of her turning pro so far? So far, so good for her.
Yeah, she's had a decent start. What she said there to Andy, I think is absolutely right. And that's a challenge when you turn over, is get down off your toes, plant your feet, punch harder, slow everything down, have a little bit more confidence to land those big scoring shots. And I still really want to see that. She pulls off that left hand a bit at times. She doesn't really manage to throw that left hand straight down the middle quite often. She kind of strangles it a bit. But it's a process, isn't it? It takes time.
It takes, you know, as a fighter, you know, when you've got to do all this media thing, you're getting asked questions by people that have never boxed. The hard thing is having to hold a conversation with them because you think you just don't know about it.
In the blazing sun as well, you can see her covering her face.
So, yeah,
it's hot, isn't it?
Yeah, and so fight week, I'm telling you, these are the kind of thing that you might think it's a happy place to be, but it ain't. You just want to fight. And so we're making show business out of this. They just want to get in and fight on a Saturday night.
And in terms of Saturday night for Karis Artenson and Jade Taylor, it is a bit of a step up, first 8-rounder for her. How do you think she'll get on, Johnny?
I think it'll be a great experience. I'm quite sure she's done it in the gym. I'm quite sure she's going to box to the best of her ability and do everything she can. She wasn't too braggadocious. She wasn't too in your face. She's just going to think, well, I'm going to see what I can do. But of course, the respect is there for opponents, so she knows she's got to check herself.
Another good experience for Karis, though, as well, fighting in the stadium. You know, Lauren been to Paris as well. They're getting it in there early doors, aren't they? Gaining all the experience, Andy.
Yeah, it's important. You look at someone whose career we covered for a long time, Joe Cordina. I think he had like 3 stadium fights in his first 3 fights. Yeah. And you look at the kind of good that's done when it's come to the big occasions in his career recently. I'm convinced that it would have played a big part for him. But with Karis, I'd just love to see her just step out there on Saturday night, just plant her feet, aggressive but nice and loose, and just bang that 1-2 in. A bit like we want to see Lawrence Okolie do.
I think she's trying to find who she is. Now that transition from amateur to professional, you've got to decide what kind of fighter you want to be, where you're most comfortable, most effective. So she's right. She's talking about the things she classes are doing wrong. So now, being who she wants to be is right.
Well, these two got a little bit spicy, didn't it, in the press conference? And it looks like it spilled over in the face-off. And it's all part of the fun and games, isn't it?
Yeah, we've seen quite a few shoves, haven't we, in recent times at press conferences. He's a man who I think he likes to live on that edge a bit towards the end of fight week there, Rueg, and that's okay. Different people choose to do it differently. I mean, that to me, Johnny, seems like it burns quite a lot of nervous energy, but if that's where you like to take yourself, then it's an individual thing.
He kind of contradicted himself, said, "Who are you calling an angry little man? Why would you say that?" So that's all about it. But, you know, that it's you know, that certain fighters have to get themselves into that state to be that kind of fighter. He's one of those kind of fighters.
Here's Lee Cutler.
Now, this is a fight I'm very much looking forward to it. And up there on the table, Andy, quite a bit of respect between the two, which was nice to see.
Yeah, there's never any harm in it, is there? Never any harm in it. And I'm really looking forward to this. I just think it's a great clash of styles. Stannard, I think, can probably do it a few different ways. I really like the look of what I've seen of him, but he's gaining
quite a following as well.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's not really been in any kind of a tough fight. He's looked for them. He just hasn't been able to get them. He sells tickets around Newark, around the East Midlands where he's from. Carl Greaves is with him, and Carl doesn't waste his time with people who he doesn't think are going to firstly buckle down or secondly achieve something. And you know, Cutler again is good to watch, really good to watch. He's riding this Billam-Smith wave to an extent, but he wants big nights of his own, and this is a massive night for him.
And some smiles there from Cutler.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, is 8 2-minute rounds in the women's lightweight division. Introducing first, coming to us from Salford, England, please welcome the undefeated Jade Blade Taylor.
What do you think Jade would have made of that sort of outburst from Karis?
And her opponent from
I don't think she'll have batted an eyelid, to be honest. I think maybe kind of within the sport, people kind of know what everybody else is really about. I don't know if these two have met much over the years, but Karis Artingstall is somebody who just means business. You look at her there, and I think there's something you can really do with that persona, with that personality. Like I say, if you just say to her, listen, this isn't the amateurs anymore, you're not representing GB, don't worry about letting the organisation down or the badge down or any of that, you're just representing yourself, be who you want to be 24/7,
and just
let us worry about trying to sell it.
Monitor the swearing out on live television. But it is about finding your feet, Johnny, in these early stages of your professional career.
I think every gym's full of industrial language, so I think it's just uncomfortable for the camera to, well, not uncomfortable, it's part of the course with fighters coming through. But for Karis, I think she just needs to, once they get on with the job, there's not much of a smile on her face at all, is there? We saw them just cross past there once they got to the
we can
stage.
probably read a lot into that, can't we? We can throw things out there like nerves, that kind of thing. But again, as Andy just said, it could just be Karis.
She just seems a no-nonsense kind of girl.
WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight Championship. Introducing first from Southampton, England, please welcome the undefeated Joe Pigford.
This fight I'm looking forward to. I think this fight has got it all written all over it. Both fighters know that as well.
And his opponent from Smethwick, England, he comes to us as the former IBO World Super Welterweight Champion, Sam the Savage Eggington.
Sam Eggington, such an extensive career, isn't it, for just a 29-year-old? We spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? You can't quite believe he's still 29 of what he's achieved and what he's been through in terms of fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sam is genuinely old school, and people use that phrase probably a bit too much. They throw it around a bit too much, but he literally turned professional to make money. He's the definition of a prize fighter. That's what this is about. He's won titles and he's enjoyed the titles, but he just wants to fight for the biggest purse he can get. And if that means the biggest challenge, that's what he'll do. He went to Australia to fight Dennis Hogan because the money was good. As I understand it, he's kind of achieved his financial ambitions, and now everything is just a bonus. And we know what we'll get. You said it yesterday, you said it today. You know what you'll get from me.
Joe Pigford, 90 knockouts in 20 fights, 95% knockout ratio. That has all the ingredients, Johnny, to be a great fight.
All the ingredients. So that's about he just doesn't want to make mistakes, and so he's got to learn. And each fight I see him, I think, sometimes there's still a lot of learning to come from him, even though his record is so good. But be careful, because when you come against somebody else that can hit, that can bang, that can stand there and give a shot, that's when all these chinks in the armor will be exposed.
England, introducing the former British, Commonwealth and European Cruiserweight Champion, the gentleman Chris Billam-Smith.
Chris Billam-Smith, the gentleman, and looks every part the gentleman in his suit, Andy. Must be absolutely roasting in it.
I know. He looks great, though.
I'd have had Crocs on with that suit.
You'd have what?
Crocs on with that suit.
No. That's why he's not employed you as a fashion advisor.
Commonwealth European Cruiserweight Champion and the current reigning, defending WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Lawrence "The Sauce" Okolie.
Yeah, big slow.
From what we heard there in the press conference, Johnny, supreme confidence from Lawrence. Did you really believe that he's seen something in
When I
Chris
was
that he knows he
champion,
can
I
get
believe
to?
that was the best fight in the world. And there's not many fighters out there with the tag world champion that believe they're the best fighter in the world. It doesn't matter if you are or not, you've got to believe you are. The way Lawrence carries himself or presents himself to us, he believes he thinks he's the best cruiserweight in the world, and each time he's got to step up to the plate and prove that.
We saw a wry smile as well from Lawrence when Shane was talking about when the two sparred and both having success. You saw a little smirk there from Lawrence, like he knows something.
Yeah, and I think Johnny's tapped into something really important there, which is that when you're the man, you have to behave like the man. And in this situation, he talks about it just there in a press conference, basically suggesting that Billam-Smith has been obsessing about him for years, whereas Okolie doesn't think about him at all. Yeah. And that's how you have to play it, like you're above it. Whatever anybody brings to your door, you can find an answer.
Open to the public for the official weigh-ins for this Saturday, May 27th from Vitality Stadium. Thank you.
It's all about, I guess, for Chris, keeping his emotions in check this week. There's a lot of fight week commitments that he has to do. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders from everyone around him here in Bournemouth. And I guess for him, which Lawrence isn't necessarily having to do because it's not his hometown, the pressure's not necessarily there from the home people on Lawrence. That's an extra thing that Chris has got to deal with this week.
Without a doubt. He can't go anywhere for the rest of this week without anybody talking. He can't get away from it. I just want to give my mind a rest. He's got to live in the moment. He's got to be here. Lawrence has checked himself into an Airbnb actually, and he's not checked into a fight hotel with everybody else. He's in an Airbnb. He doesn't want to mix with anybody, just do his own little thing. Unfortunately for Chris, everybody knows him, so that pressure's on every day you step out your front door.
How did you find that? Did you enjoy that? Say if you were headlining, that when you stepped out your door, you were getting a lot of questions.
If I'm honest with you,
did you want to take yourself away?
I didn't like it. I took myself away. I took myself away from family. Stayed in a hotel on the edge of town. That was the best thing. I loved boxing away from home. And when I was boxing in home, again, it'd be hotel gym, sleep, eat. That's it. That worked for me because I prefer to be in a certain mindset, certain focus. It's business, and that's what it is. But Chris has got family, friends, and this is it for him. So everybody's talking about it, everybody's on about him, and sometimes you just want to rest because mentally you don't want to get there Saturday night and be mentally exhausted before you've even got in.
Well, he said himself, didn't he, when he went to the stadium last night and had a look around and soaked it all up, saw it all being built, all the platforms and everything that are going up this week for that fight on Saturday night, and he himself, he felt quite emotional, which you can kind of get, and that emotion, you've got to make sure that doesn't get the better of you on fight night.
100%. But what we know from Billam-Smith from those fights against McCarthy, but particularly the one against Isaac last summer, is that he is prepared to and can do whatever it takes to win. He can take himself to that place. And if he needs to go there on Saturday, it's a ring. Everything else will just melt into nothing because that's how it has to be. And he's a great ambassador for the sport. He looked immaculate up there. The gentleman nickname is absolutely appropriate. He's got that saleability whereby people feel like he's like the ordinary man in the street, but he's nothing like the ordinary man in the street. Nor's he. He comes off as a well-adjusted, very, friendly guy, but he's nothing like the average man in the street because they choose to make a living putting themselves in the most extreme circumstance you possibly can. In a ring, hand-to-hand, me or you. So make no mistake with Billam-Smith. He's a nice guy, fine. But when the bell goes, he will do whatever he has to, and so will Okolie.
Well, let's talk about what they have to do. Where do you think Chris will see Lawrence's weaknesses, Johnny?
Chris, and we got it from when Shane spoke. We got it from when Chris spoke. And as obviously the two of them were apart, so one probably kind of confirmed what the other said, which is Chris has to keep the pace of each round. And if he keeps the pace of each round, then things are working in his favour. Don't let Lawrence get comfortable holding you, tying you up. When he feels in distress or when he feels you're in an uncomfortable position where he is, he's going to hold you. He's going to rest up. He's going to gather his thoughts, get his feet, get his body position right. Chris has got to be in a position where he makes Lawrence work and throw punches when he doesn't want to. Now, it may be a painful experience, but he's got to do that. But he's got to be smart and safe enough to let this man work. And if he does that, then as the rounds go on, then Lawrence will get more distressed. Lawrence will feel more uncomfortable. If you check out all these fights, it's punch, 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 grab, hold, tie up. He's getting his senses. He's getting where he wants to be back again. Then he'll jab, hit, and move. It's his pace. Chris has got to take that away from him. If he takes that away from him, he's got every chance of winning.
And in the past, Lawrence has fallen for quite a lot of criticism for that kind of hold, isn't it? Being an ugly fight to watch, necessarily the prettiest fights to watch, yeah. But he's effective.
The more distressed Lawrence will be, the more ugly the fight will be, because he'll time with people more.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. Chris cannot have a situation whereby he's allowing his tank to be drained by Lawrence doing what Lawrence has done in the past. Really for Billam-Smith, this is one of those fights where you've got to roll the dice. You've got to be really, really brave, because for him, it's chin or be chinned. It's as simple as that, because if you go down the 12 rounds with Okolie, he will get hold of you enough over those 36 minutes to maybe take 5 rounds off you, at least, without you being able to do a single thing about it. So he's got to roll the dice, he's got to be brave, he's got to risk it all.
It's going to take good refereeing as well.
Yeah, true.
It's going to take good refereeing. If I was Shane, and first of all, in that meeting when they're giving the gloves, I'd make a point. You make sure that the referee does his job. And so therefore, if there's a chance of Lawrence getting a point taken off him for grabbing and holding, it makes the fight a little bit harder for him, because that's what he feels most comfortable doing. So you've got to be smart enough to put the pressure under the referee. Don't just sit on the referee to do his job.
We talked about where Chris will see Lawrence's weaknesses. What about Lawrence? Where will he see Chris's flaws?
I think Lawrence feels like he had the better of most of the rounds that they sparred,
yeah.
And he'll just find a way to get it done. I was really interested in something that Sugar Hill said there, which was that in the changing room afterwards, Lawrence kind of said to him, okay, I get it now. I see what maybe I should have done. And right towards the end of the fight, if you remember, maybe in about the 11th round, he did just hold his feet and throw a nice solid 1-2 down the middle. He hit David light and buzzed him a little bit. And I remember thinking at the time, if he'd managed to do that in round 4, this could have been different. But it took him until the back end of the fight, I'm guessing, to really do something that his trainer really wanted him to do, and that they've probably been working on. If he starts in that mode more, then we could see something explosive from him. But him doing that, Billam-Smith will want him to do that. Like I said, this is you're walking into the fire if you're Chris. You want him, Okolie, to be at his kind of powerful, most ambitious, because that gives you a better chance.
Sorry, Johnny, we can say something.
I think Chris gets hit too easily. Lawrence hits too hard. I think he maybe end up being too brave for his own good, thinking I need you to let the shots go, and I'm willing to take the shots, hoping you gas out, and then I'll get the fruition of my game plan. But I think he gets hit too easily, and the power that I'm hearing Lawrence has in the gym, I think he can't afford to give those kind of shots. Well, I'm not saying walk down with your hands down and let him whack you. What I'm saying is got to get him working, but Lawrence knows what shots he can get away with.
One of the things that Lawrence said yesterday he'd been working on was his conditioning, didn't he? Because we only saw him in March, didn't we? And if this had been any other fighter, we'd probably be saying, gosh, it's quite soon for him to be getting back in the ring, and it's such a big fight again. But because Lawrence had such a lengthy time out of the ring, this is probably playing into his favour, isn't it? That he's had a bit of extra time to sort of hone his skills, get used to Sugar Hill, and increase his fitness back again. Yeah,
I do. I think that's quite key, actually, because instilling any kind of new style or looking to try and do something that you know is in there but no one's quite managed to get out of you. Shane, I think, was close to getting it out of him, holding his feet, setting his feet and punching the way we want to see him. It's all about repetition, and the more repetition you can get over a smaller space of time, the better chance you've got.
I think pace is the key. I think Lawrence needs to, if he knows he can do 12 rounds, boxing for 12 rounds, then that ticks every box. I don't think he can. I've never seen him do it. So when you're talking about conditioning, that's what you mean conditioning. And I know when you train in the gym, you've got to ride on it 12 rounds. It's all right doing the pads, but when that nervous energy is there and someone's in your face getting the shot, letting the shots go as well, it's for him to work for 3 minutes of every round for 12 rounds. That's the condition, and I've never seen him do it.
But also mentally for Lawrence, because we know we touched on it yesterday about how if you're fully prepared in your camp and you've left no stone unturned, you're mentally in a better place. Lawrence, last fight against David Light, he'd been out of the ring, like we just said, for a year. So that in his back of his mind, he was thinking, I've got a bit of ring rust, what's it going to be like? So he's had that's got out the way, and he's probably had that little bit of extra time to be mentally stronger and sort of back himself even more.
This is good. Him fighting 9 weeks bell to bell is the perfect thing that most fighters want. For him to say, yeah, I'll take it, he's like, you know what, I've had a year out, I've boxed, now I want to box again. You know, this is good because this is where you get the development of him and that union between he and Sugar. And do it again if you possibly can. Get out as often. These guys are spending too much time on holiday. These guys are spending too much downtime between fights. Fighting needs to be second nature.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. One thing I feel like Chris will feel is an advantage is because he's had those tough fights. He had the defeat against Riakporhe where I kind of thought Riakporhe might stop him towards the end. The knockdown Chris disputes, but it was a knockdown. The ropes kept him up, but he really rallied towards the second half of that fight. So he will feel like he knows that if he gets really hard in there, he's got what it takes to be able to cope with that.
To fight his way out.
Yeah. Whereas with Okolie, he hasn't had to do that yet. He hasn't had that much adversity. I would love to see what would happen if he gets put down Lawrence and how he reacts to it, because he'll feel like he knows, but the truth is he doesn't know. Nobody does. I'm
interested to know from you, Andy, because yesterday, like we said at the start, one of the things you wanted to see from Lawrence this week was a slight change in kind of more spite, more sort of eagerness, a little sort of different side to his personality. From what we've seen today and as the week's now going on, do you still need to see that, or are you less convinced that you need to?
I think we've seen a bit of it. I think you could trace a bit of it in there. I think this week he's had a bit more of a swagger about him, a little bit more arrogance about him. I think he's taken this kind of stance whereby he's looking at Billam-Smith and just thinking, you are beneath me. You were when we sparred, you are now.
I think it's a very passive kind of aggression. So you wouldn't actually see when it's very passive how he drops it. I'm thinking, smart, I know what you're doing, and you see it straight through it.
But perfect example yesterday, where when he said what he said, I thought that was, I really liked that. You know, I wasn't really sure how I was going to win, but now I've seen him, I'm going to stop him.
Are you still going with the same prediction?
I am. I actually think, Chris, unfortunately, Lawrence knows him too well. Lawrence knows what he can do, and he gets to hit too easy. He will fight his heart and soul like he will be a complete hero Saturday night, but I just think Lawrence's punch power will pull him through.
Well, we've got one more day to go, haven't we? The weigh-in tomorrow and the final face-off before the big fight night on Saturday night, live from the Vitality Stadium. 15,000 fans are going to be in there. We cannot wait. We shall see you then. See you tomorrow for the final weigh-in, and then on Saturday night, Sky Sports Action and also Sky Sports Showcase, 7 p.m. See you then.